So this lesson is going to be about mental set points. Now, more specifically, we're going to get more intrinsic about how you can change mindsets and how you can shift your thought forms. Why is this important? We're going to talk about this more in depth as we go into the next module, where we start to talk about shadow work down the line. But here I want to make it very, very clear so that it can sit on your consciousness, and then when it is time to put it to use, it is not you trying to process the understanding of it, but you are actually able to receive it and understand it fully and wholeheartedly and be able to put it into action. Our teachings here are best put into action as a grounded practice. So I wanted to make sure that I put this in here and I broke it down for you guys, okay? So a mental set point. As we talked about in the last video, a mental set point is where you have placed your mind and how your thoughts are functioning from that perspective and how you are viewing the world from that perspective. So how I want to talk about this today is just very quick and simple, okay? When you want to shift a mindset, there are 3 things that you need to do. 1, you need to implement better self-talk. You already have maybe a negative pattern of self-talk. It could also be upgraded in the ways that you speak to yourself, okay? So what does the self-talk sound like in your mind? Is it negative? Is it something that would put you down, that would take away from this highest and greatest understanding of self? And the reason why I bring this up is because I want you to be able to elevate your mind and your understanding by understanding where exactly you have placed it, right? The first thing we always do is to acknowledge what is happening currently. You cannot change anything if you are trying to avoid the realistic understanding of it. Okay, so as we tap in, I want you to just notice and allow your awareness to be there and allow your awareness to bring certain things to the forefront of your consciousness and show you, hey, this thing kind of sounds like that, doesn't it? And to take note of it, and if you have a pencil and paper or some type of note-taking tool, if you have a notes app or something like that, please write it down somewhere that you can find it again, okay? I always suggest to you guys that you get this app. It's called Notebook, okay? And the Notebook app allows you to create a notebook. And the reason why I ask you to do this is so that all of your stuff is in one place and it's easy for you to find. And Notebook is an app that is cross all devices. So if it is available on your app store, I do suggest that you use it, and you will be able to take the PDFs and all the downloadables and put them into this notebook, which will allow you to have constant access to it whenever and wherever you need it. Where is it that you've put down your mind? Open it up, and I want you to start listing out, where is my mindset currently? How do I speak to myself? What do the thoughts inside of my mind sound like? Do I have intrusive thoughts? Do I have anxious thoughts? Do I have depressing thoughts? Do I have uplifting thoughts? Do I have motivating thoughts? And what do those motivating thoughts sound like? Are they positive or are they negative? And I'll give you an example of a positive motivating thought. You are intrinsically incredible, and you have the power to be able to go after that thing and get it done because you are so amazing and your skills are going to help you elevate. A negative thought would be, You really aren't worth anything. And you need to prove it to everyone that you actually can do it. Can you? Seriously? Look at you. Your work is so sloppy. I bet you couldn't work another 3 or 4 hours on that thing to get it done. What would you rather hear inside of your mind? So I do encourage you to tap in and to assess yourself. What is your internal self-talk like? What is your external self-talk like? When you're talking to other people, do you agree with things that necessarily diminish your power and diminish your light because they are diminishing you in their shady ass thoughts? Okay? What is it when they're projecting their own understanding of themselves, their own view of themselves at you, and you agree to it, or do you reassert, or do you move away from the understanding of that, where you don't position yourself to be less than this person or at that same negative place? Okay, so this can look like someone talking about how they don't feel confident in their body. They may call themselves fat. And so instead of being that person that says, oh, don't worry, sometimes I feel fat too. And then you might tug at whatever part of your body you feel that has fat. But instead of diminishing yourself in that moment, turn around and do what the individual is actually needing in that moment. Instead of relatability, what they're looking for is to be seen and heard. So see them and hear them and affirm them, okay? You look beautiful. You look handsome. I don't understand why you're always shitting on yourself, bro. Or I don't understand why you're always being so down on yourself. You know, you're amazing. You're so empowered and your personality is so elevating. Why would you ever say that about yourself? You need to empower others while also not diminishing yourself. And so when we think about how our self-talk is, we need to make sure that we are keeping our self-talk up and positive, okay? Now, 2. So the second thing that I want to talk about is your thought frequency subscriptions, okay? What does that mean? So all of your thoughts that are running around inside your head all the time, they're not yours. You don't think them up. Do you know how exhausting that would be? But it is exhausting to fight them, isn't it? How do you get rid of them? You unsubscribe from the frequency. And we do this by listening and developing affirmations. So we would develop an affirmation, or you can pick up a affirmation video or a podcast and listen to it in your time where you are either concentrating or doing a mindless task. This will allow for your subconscious mind to be reprogrammed by ingesting all of these positive thoughts, and by ingesting a lot of positive thoughts via listening and having that perspective, or via saying it to yourself often throughout the day. It is allowing your mind to get comfortable with engaging with these thoughts and also repeating them back to you. Therefore, you're making new subscriptions. And as you heal, there are certain parts of your mindset that will trigger these thought forms. And as those triggers are healed, you'll subscribe less and less and less to that vibrational frequency. Eventually, it will be removed. And then you could just release it and it's gone forever. And you don't ever have to go back to being oppressed by the voice that is inside your head. I know that I made it sound super duper easy. And to be honest, this is one of the practices that you have to be really consistent with. It is one of the easiest steps to reprogram your mind, but it is hard to be consistent with it. Another way that I like to be consistent with this is to change the music that I'm listening to. So when you are going through your library, for example, or you're playing your music library on shuffle, listen to the type of music, listen to the lyrics of what you're listening to? Is it talking about oppression? Is it talking about scarcity? Is it talking about negativity? Or is it empowering you? Is it empowering the person that you are? Is it enlightening you to a different vibration? Or is it pulling you down to a heavy and painful vibration, right? And not to say that I don't want you to listen to things that are maybe describing your current environment and that are relatable, but I do want you to understand, in order for you to shift your music, you have to understand that music was first developed as a frequency vibration and an offering to the gods. And so you are consuming God offerings of negativity. So what gods are being invoked by listening? What negative spirits are being invoked by listening to music of a scarcity mindset? And are you subscribing to that same frequency? And if you would like to have something better, then elevating the vibrational elements, the words that are being said in the music, will allow you to elevate your mind and to elevate your spirit, okay? And I do have some resources that are going to be here, that are going to be some playlists I have curated for you guys to tap in and find artists, affirmations, and all types of stuff that you can listen to on a regular basis as you are getting to the part of the course where you want to reprogram your mind. Feel free to start this now. So the third thing that you need to do to move your mental set point is to shift your perspective. Now, your perspective is intrinsically influenced by your thoughts and the outside things that you're listening to. So your perspective is also a part that needs to change, okay? Now, I want to give you an example. If I am a person that's standing on my shoulder and they say, I see a candle, I see it flickering out in the distance, and they're trying to tell the person who's standing down here on my chain about this candle, they don't have the perspective to understand that it's a candle. If they were to describe it to them, oh, it's a very tall, orange, glowing thing in the back. What are you talking about? And because they're down here, they have no understanding of what that is. They can make up anything, right, that is out there in the distance. What you have to realize is that for you to be able to see forward and to be able to manifest anything at a higher vibration, you need to adjust your perspective. How do you do that? Okay? The first thing that you're going to do is start to get different vantage points of your situations. So whenever there's a particular type of thought form that you're trying to work on, or there's a specific type of wound that you need to work on, or there's a specific type of situation out there in your life that you need to handle, the first thing to do is not to react, but to wait, to observe, and then respond. Why do we wait? We wait to gain perspective, okay? If you react, you'll react from your current perspective, and that is not an informed perspective. Does that make sense? So in order to gain a higher perspective, you need to inform your perspective of your current situation. So I will give you an example. If you have a partner, and if your partner did something wrong, like say for example, they're taking out the trash and didn't know that the trash was leaking. So as they moved throughout the house to throw the trash away, there's a puddle of garbage through the house, right? There's that garbage juice throughout the house. And you come into the house and you're like, what the it's garbage juice, right? And maybe you slip on it and you react and you get really upset. You call your partner and you're like, what is this, right? They don't know, but your whole apartment or your home smells like garbage. So at this point, there's only two things to deduce at this moment. It smells like garbage. So it's probably garbage juice, right? Did you take out the trash? Yeah. So now at this point, you have two understandings. One person who didn't notice, and the other person who is intrinsically mad because they are the ones who slipped in it and are covered in it and don't want to clean it up, right? So, and a reaction from the person who fell could be very angry, and that could create a hostile argument. Or it could be, hey, there's garbage juice on the floor. I don't understand why it's here. I'm going to go take a shower, and I would really appreciate if you cleaned it up. That would be a more informed perspective, because I understand that you didn't do it on purpose, right? It just happened, and maybe you were unaware. Without even accusing this person of doing it on purpose, I gain the perspective that maybe it wasn't noticed. And if I didn't slip on it, I probably wouldn't have noticed it either. Allow yourself to see when you are reacting or triggered, and then when you are able to slow down and respond, or wait to respond and ask questions, right? Sometimes in order to respond, we need more information, something that we can't deduce on our own, which requires us to ask more questions from the person who's communicating with us. But I hope that this has helped, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.